What's up YouTube? My name is Isaiah Rivera. I took my vertical from 24 to 50.5 inches, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about how much vertical you should expect to gain during every single year of your jump training journey. First, I'm going to start by talking about how much vertical I gain in every single year of my jump training journey, and then we're going to get into the specifics of how much you should expect to gain. In year one, I gained 6 inches. I went from 24-inch vertical jump to a 30-inch vertical jump and being able to touch rim to being able to dunk. I started the year at 15 years old and then at 16 years old. In year two, I gained another 5 or 6 inches to put me at 36 inches, and I went from being able to dunk to being able to East Bay. And I was 17 years old. In years 3 and 4, I went from a 36-inch vertical to a 42.5-inch vertical. And I gained around 2.5 inches each of those years. And by the end of year 4, I was 19 years old. In 2018, during my 4th year of jump training, I went from a 42.5-inch vertical to a 44.5-inch vertical, so 2 inches. From the summer of year 4 to winter of year 5, so around 7-8 months, I went from a 44.5-inch vertical to a 47-inch vertical. From year 5 to year 6, I got up to a 48-inch vertical. And from year 5 to mid year 7, I was stuck at a 48-inch vertical. So I was at a 48-inch vertical for about 2 years. And from year 7 to now year 8, I went from a 48 to a 50.5-inch vertical. So that was an increase of about 2.5 inches. Now my coach, John Evans, is gonna talk to you guys about how much vertical you should expect to gain.
Breaking these up into 4 different categories, I will start with beginners. So beginner is literally anyone who has never done jump training in their entire life, whose vertical is less than 30 inches. If you are in this category, then you can expect roughly about an inch a month improvement in your vertical if you're training for it. I will say that at this stage, it doesn't even really matter what you're doing for training. If you're doing some form of vertical leap training, you're probably gonna see improvement. This is the easiest time to get better, and you have to be the least diligent to improve. So the second category is gonna be athletes who have a vertical between 30 and 36 inches. If you fall in this category, then you can expect roughly a ½ inch improvement per month in your vertical. Now, I will say that this does depend on who you're actually training with. At this point, you probably started to hit diminishing returns. You probably just stopped improving as quickly as you did when you were in the beginner's phase, because adaptation is gonna happen more slowly as you become more adapted. That's defined as diminishing returns, and you'll see going through these categories as you go further down the hierarchy, it's more and more difficult to improve in a given timeline. One other thing to consider is that injuries will typically start to pop up if you are in this category, and so it can be really important to find coaches who know how to manage this. Ding! Shout out THP.
Speaking of THPstrength.com, yes, you can avoid injury or even come back from injury if you sign up to THPstrength.com and get coached by Isaiah Rivera and John Evans themselves. Now, if you want to add inches to your vertical like what we're seeing in the video, you have to train properly. If you need guidance on training optimally, why don't you head over to THPstrength.com. Link is in the description. You really want to make these vertical improvements like what we're seeing in this video. Sign up today.
And lastly, recovery is probably less important in this stage. You could probably get away with eating like garbage, not sleeping a lot, and not really paying attention to taking any supplements or anything like that, and still improve. Typically athletes in this 30 to 36 inch range, I traditionally see them, if they're jumping athletes, in that 14 to 18-year-old range. If you're a little bit older and you have more training age, then the numbers that I listed might change a little bit. So the third category is going to be advanced athletes. As you can tell, the advanced and even the 4th category, elite, is going to be a little bit predetermined by your genetics. That doesn't mean that you can't become a great jumper. A 40-inch vertical, a legit 40-inch vertical, is absolutely absurd, but there are some considerations to make. So there's a little bit of blending between the advanced and elite categories. That said, if you're an advanced athlete, your vertical is probably between 36 and 42 inches. And during this period of time, you can expect about 1 inch to 3 inches of vertical increase per year, depending on the person. Training is going to play an even more important role in your ability to improve 1 inch to 3 inches in a given period of time. This is typically also where plateaus set in, and you may or may not see breakthroughs of 1 inch to 2 to 3 inches. You'll typically have peak performances and then a lot of low points during that period of time. And the goal is really to bring up the low points to better and your high points to even higher. This is typically how improvement happens. It's not this linear progression. You'll have lots of ups and downs, but you want the trend to go upwards year to year, or even honestly biannually if you're really committed to this. So lastly, we have elite athletes. To me, this is anyone who has above a 42-inch, legit 42-inch vertical, who is very, very genetically gifted. Isaiah would fall into this category. A lot of the athletes that I coach would fall into this category. These athletes can improve about an inch a year, depending on how well they're actually training and who they're training with. This is my passion, is working with these athletes because they're the most difficult to get to improve because they are at the point of diminishing returns, especially as you start to climb up to that 47, 48, 49, and even 50-inch vertical. It's harder and harder to improve. The reason for this is that they have hit the absolute peak of their potential, and to break through that, you basically have to say there are no barriers, there are no limits. So lizard? let me see if I can say that again. Most elite athletes have probably back squatted before, and their back squat is probably above 350 pounds if they're in this category. That said, you can't just get them stronger and expect their vertical to go up. You have to really dial in variables and make sure that they're doing everything perfectly. This includes sleep, this includes diet, this includes managing injuries. And again, in this category, you can't really say even an inch a year or every 2 years. It's honestly kind of status quo, and then all of a sudden you'll see a big boost in performance. But you really want to look at the mean or the average of their vertical jump sessions and try to assess if that's climbing up, as well as looking at other performance metrics to see if those are improving. Because if they are, as I say, there's probably a storm brewing or something big coming in their vertical jump, which is what was evident with Isaiah when he hit 50.5 inches. All of his numbers climbed up, and then he hit that big vertical of 50.5 at dunk camp. So that's the video, guys. Leave any comments or questions you have in the comment section below. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, and we will catch you guys next time. Peace out.